Thank you so much for purchasing our WunderCentix central axis and attachments for your Thermomix. You are going to absolutely love these new accessories. You're going to be cooking up a storm, and I promise you they are so easy to use. But like everything, they're easiest when someone shows you how first. So I've made some really quick, simple videos where I'm going to step you through and I'm going to show you all the little tips and tricks for these accessories, and I'm going to show you exactly how we set them up in our Thermomix. So cook along with me, have me in the kitchen, save this website so you've always got this page to come back to watch these videos if you ever need. Now, let's get started on how the system works. So the system works with the WunderCentix central axis in your Thermomix, and then each of the attachments, whether it be the juicer, the pasta maker, the grain flaker, the vegetable shredder, etc., they plug into the central axis. So no matter which accessory you are wanting to use, whether it be the juicer or the pasta maker, you always need to put in your central axis first. This is the hub, okay? Then everything else attaches on. So what we do is we take our Thermomix. This is an empty Thermomix bowl, just as it will be when it's sitting on your bench. And then we take the axis here and we put that onto the blades. Now you'll kind of twist that around to make sure it's sitting properly on the blades. If it's not, it'll probably just fall off anyway. That's quite an easy step. Then we take the main piece, the piece de resistance here, I don't even know what we're going to call this, but yeah, this is the magic. So this needs to go into your Thermomix bowl before you put the lid on. Now, what it does is these grooves here line up with the grooves on your Thermomix bowl. So you need them to line up for it to sit in properly. But we also need this knob here that's going to connect our accessories. We need that coming out the side of the Thermomix here. So there's no good putting this in and having this facing forward, okay? We need this on the side that we want our accessories. So the way I find this easiest is there's actually WunderMix, which is the brand here on this plate thing. I like to line that up with the handle of my Thermomix on the side where it's going to come out. So the WunderMix and the handle are lined up, and then we sit it in. Now, depending on where it actually just went in perfectly. I was going to show you when sometimes it doesn't. So depending on where that central axis is kind of positioned, sometimes you just need to jiggle it a little bit so that axis coming up fits perfectly into this top bit here. So look, that actually just really worked perfectly, but I've moved this a little bit and we'll try it again. So my WunderMix and my arm are lined up, and then I go to sit that on. Okay, it's not going to sit on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to just wiggle it a bit, trying to get that axis that's in the bowl. It's this that we're trying to get to attach. That's what's going to stop it if you have any resistance. So again, we're just going to wiggle it until we can kind of get this properly. Okay, that's in now. So you'll know it's in when it's flat on your Thermomix bowl. You're not going to be able to put your lid on if it's not in. But again, see, once it's lined up, it's actually so easy. But when that central axis isn't perfectly positioned, just a little bit of a wiggle. But you'll know you're on the right track when the WunderMix and the arm are lined up, and then once that sits in, you'll feel it. It's very secure, and again, the lid can just go over the top. So if your lid doesn't fit over the top as seamlessly and easily as what mine just did, I would suggest this middle bit isn't perfectly in position. So middle bit's in position, lid goes on. Now, the next bit is the kind of the right-hand turn for your axis. Now, often when I'm storing this, I'll store the little twisty duvalacky in it, just so I don't lose it and just because it's easiest. But I actually find it easier to install having this completely removed. This is just personal preference. You don't have to remove it, but that's how I find it easiest. Now, again, this can go in many ways, but what we need is this insert here that the accessory is going to come into. We need that to be like facing you effectively while you're watching this video. It needs to be facing out because that's where our accessory is going to screw in. So the way to line this up perfectly is I want you to start by having your hole, your little accessory groove, facing down. And the other way that this is easiest is there's actually an arrow on the front that will be facing up, and that will be going into the main axis. So your arrow faces up and goes in, and then your little duvallaki hole is facing down. So once it's in that position, just kind of give it a bit of a twist if it doesn't go straight in, just like this top axis. Then we push it to the back, then we twist. And when it's locked in, this button here will pop out. You would have heard that pop out sound. And now we can see the clampy duvallaki bit is facing out, which is exactly where we want it, and this is secured in position. So I'll show you again. We come out, we've got the arrow facing out, the duvallaki part facing down, and then we just wiggle that until that goes in, and then there's actually a design on the front here that says turn to lock, and it gives you an arrow which way. So the arrow pointing back towards me, I'm then going to turn, click, that goes in. Okay, so now that's secure. So our central axis is all set up and ready to go now. Oh, except for one little bit, the foot. Now this guy just slides under your Thermomix machine on the side that your accessory is. And this just prevents the Thermomix from ever rocking to side, okay? He's just a little insurance policy, but make sure you slide him under every time you use your Thermomix with the WunderCentix. So this is now all set up. We can plug our accessory in and then twist it up with our little duvallaki knob here, okay? Whoop. A bit difficult when I can't see what I'm doing. So we screw that all the way in till that's really tight. And then we run our machine on reverse speed 3. And our juicer is ready to juice, or whatever attachment you're using. And then to, de-set it all up, we just follow the exact same steps in reverse. Now I've shown you kind of the slow way to do this, and now I'm just going to run through at kind of a normal pace. So you can see that actually once you kind of have the feel for what you're doing, it really doesn't take very long to set this all up. Okay, so bowl's empty, axis here goes in, sits on the blades. This guy comes on top, our WunderMix and our arm line up, give it a wiggle. He is facing the side that I want to attach my accessory. The lid goes on. Now for our right hand arm, I've got my arrow facing towards the central. I've got my duvallaki hole facing down. I put this in, give it a little wiggle. Then I can see I turn it this way to lock in, and I heard that click, which says everything is locked in perfectly. Then I take my accessory, give that a little wobble if it needs, just to get that in properly. And then I take my duvallaki and I screw it up. Simple as that. To disassemble, he pulls out. I press, I indent the little button here, and then I twist him to remove, okay? The opposite to what we did to get him in. Lid off, central bit off, axis off, foot out. And now our Thermomix is back how it was at the start, good to cook our next meal in.